Hello and welcome to the Tough Girl podcast, which is all about motivating and inspiring you while increasing the amount of female role models in the media, especially in relation to adventure and physical challenges. I'm your host, Sarah Williams. Today's episode is a different episode. It is a solo reflections episode, and it is episode number 800. That's right, there are 800 episodes of the Tough Girl podcast. Can I get a whoop, 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 whoop? Yeah, very, very exciting. In this episode, this is going to be a 6-month reflections episode, looking back for January 2025 all the way through to July 2025 with my plans for August. I think you already know who I am and what I do. If you don't, this possibly isn't the best episode for you to be listening to. But let me just set the scene as I always do. I am sat in my room, and normally, because this is where I record my podcast episodes from, I'm on my bed. It's beautiful. My room is normally really relaxing. I have the Himalayan salt lamps. I have the snake plants. I've got my giant wall map. It's calming. It is relaxing. Not today. It is utter chaos because it is about 3 or 4 days before I head off to France. Well, first down to London for a family wedding and then off to France to hike the GR10. And I have got all my kit and gear everywhere because I was doing one of those flat photo lays. You might have seen it on my Instagram. I'm writing a post about all my gear. So I had the scales out. I'm weighing everything, like how much my Zoleo weighs, how much my hiking poles weigh, like everything, and trying to get those photos. OMG, it took a very, very long time. I think I started at like 2:30 in the afternoon and I was still working on it like 10 o'clock. But it is all done. I've also got a new backpack. I've got an Atom pack, which I've never worn before. So I do actually need to take it on a hike at some point. And so I've never packed it. So at some point, probably tomorrow or maybe today, if I'm efficient, I will get the backpack packed and then I'll take it on a little hike, go outside and test it out and make sure that everything is working super well. So that's where I am. So what's this episode going to be all about? Yes, we're going to be reflecting back on the Tough Girl podcast, on Tough Girl challenges, on what's been happening. I'm going to be sharing more about health, money, adventures, travel updates. Basically, this is a reflective, behind the scenes, honest look at my life and what goes on. I've been doing these now for quite a number of years, and actually I find them really, really enjoyable and really, really interesting to look back and just to see where I am, how things have changed and how things progress, because I think you can learn a lot from that. So first of all, what have we been up to? So I'm still living at home with my parents. I think I've been living at home with my parents now, oh my gosh, for a long time. When did I move back in? 2013, 2014, probably 2014. Oh gosh, so it's like 11 and a bit years. I'm now working. I've got a part-time job at a place called AIM Health, which is in Hoylake. Absolutely amazing. So what that is giving me is it's giving me structure. I've got regular hours, which I then fit everything else around, such as my gym work, my podcast, my editing. It's allowed me to earn some income, have some money coming in, which is fantastic. It makes a massive difference, which is brilliant. I also get access to the therapies, which I will delve into in a bit. Well, let's delve into it now. So at AIM Health, they have a number of different therapies. It's all based as we have functional health doctors there, but we have like a cryotherapy machine going down to like -87. We have the compression trousers. We have the red light. We have a rebalance bed. We have an air pod, which is pumps like oxygen and hydrogen into your body. So really, really sort of cutting edge technologies. And one of the benefits of me actually working at AIM has been that it's allowed me to get access to all of these amazing therapies, and I don't pay for them. It's one of the perks of working there, and that has made a massive difference to my recovery and to my wellness, and it's something that I can really, really note. And then on the money front as well, so I feel as though all I do is I save up. You probably have the same problem. You save up and you're like, yes, I'm doing so well, saving up towards my goals. And you get your emergency funds in place. And then it's like, after you get your emergency funds in place, dialed in, locked away, you get an emergency. So I ended up breaking my laptop, which was just a nightmare. I had my laptop in my bag and I opened it up while I was inside my bag and I closed it down and I had like a zip. And my zip got caught in between the screen and the keyboard. So when I shut it, I didn't realise and it cracked the screen. Initially, it was okay. And then it basically got to the point where I couldn't turn it on anymore. I couldn't edit it. I couldn't do anything. And the thing with like Apple products is I would have got it fixed if it was a reasonable cost, but they were like, that's £900 to get your screen fixed. And the laptop's already like 3.5, 4 years old now. So it was like, right, I'm going to have to get a new laptop. So that's just suddenly £1,500 just gone, which can be very, very frustrating. But then also you need to reframe it and think, well, do you know what? It's an investment. My laptop did need to be upgraded. Technology does keep changing. It does keep improving. You've got to keep on top of these things. I would also at some point this year like to add some money into my pension because I haven't got around to that yet. So that is on my agenda as well. But to be fair, like, it's been really nice. So obviously I get a regular source of income in from the patrons, which is amazing, and that goes into the website, the running costs, paying for music for the YouTube videos, the search function, paying for Orphonic, which is what levels the audio quality, so it makes it sound all even. Like, all of these things sort of add up. I need to pay for Zoom, all of these things. So it's great having the patrons' money coming in on a regular basis, which can go into the podcast, the website, etc. And then it's also nice for me to have some money in which I can then invest in, paying for my mobile phone bill, paying for my gym membership, paying for my personal trainer. To be honest, I also generally end up spending a lot of money on my teeth because I had my root canal done, which was an absolute shocker. But luckily, my teeth are in much better shape. My last checkup went really well. So we're doing good. Health-wise, so yeah, I have been so consistent with my training, which has been amazing. I've been doing mobility work and strength training with Franco, my personal trainer, who I've been working with since 2019. I've also been working on strengthening my ankles. However, what I've noticed is at the moment I'm doing like 20 minutes ankle work with Franco, like once a week. And to be honest, it's not enough. I actually need to be doing it daily if I want to be able to see improvements in it. Like, I have seen improvements, but not enough because I've still rolled my ankles on adventures and challenges. And now I'm at the stage where I think I've lost, you have like a mind-body connection, and it's almost like I don't quite trust my ankles because if it goes, it goes. Like, it went on the Snowdonia Slate Trail. I also did it once in the kitchen, which was like literally walking on a flat surface at home, not doing anything, and my ankle just like went. And so that's sort of a little bit concerning, but strapping them up psychologically helps me. But I'm still going to continue doing my ankle strength training. And one of the things that I'm doing, and you may laugh, but I've actually taken up adult ballet. So this past month, I have been going once a week to our local community centre. There's some wonderful ladies there. They're all in like their 50s, 60s and 70s. But I tell you what, I'm noticing it more in my calves than my ankles, but I'm assuming it must be good for my ankles. And so when I come back after the GR10 in September, October time, again, I'll be able to commit to that for a good chunk of time. So I think that will be really helpful. No, I'm going to be honest, I haven't been as consistent with my yoga as I'd like to be. I do yin yoga with Cassandra. It's free. It's on YouTube. You just go in and type 40 minutes, hips and back or hamstrings or full body. 40, from 20 minutes morning, bedtime yin to full on 90-minute sessions. But my goal, when I think back to or look back to the end of 2025, the end of 2024, my goal was actually around longevity, because turning 44 this year, I'm going to, based on the science, it's a big jump in aging. And I'm very aware of that. And I've got lots of friends who are going through perimenopause and menopause, and it's really hitting them. And so I just want to be as strong and healthy as I can possibly be. And I'm very privileged that I can spend the time doing this, and I work somewhere like AIM Health, and I have access to functional health doctors who have access to amazing machines like bioresonance and oleograph scans and all sorts of amazing knowledge. So generally, I have actually been feeling a ton better. I had a little wobble maybe like a couple of months ago, but I think I know what that was in relation to, which was I was getting fatigued again, and I was thinking, am I anemic again? But I sort of don't know like how, because I've been quite balanced with my training and quite balanced with my recovery. So I had all my blood tests done again, and that all came back sort of normal. So like everything was fine, but I know that it wasn't fine. But I think what it was that I've been doing cryotherapy. So this is the cold therapy. So -87 for a maximum of like 3 minutes, like 4 times a week. And I think I've just been doing it too much. I've been like overdoing it. And there is a balance with, with all of these things. And so I stopped doing the cryotherapy before the GR20. And then since I've come back and I've had 3 weeks in between, I haven't done any cryotherapy because I don't want to lose the heat adaptation that I've had before I head off to the Pyrenees and do the GR10. And actually, I feel just before heading off that like my training's coming together. I'm feeling really strong. Like I'm feeling really fit. I'm feeling really well, like touch wood. So I think the other issue that is being pulled up is around my gut health. But this is something that I have known for a while, because if you hike with me, you will know that I do big belches. And that is due to my diet, and I had various issues from back in like I think it was the year 2022, when I was hiking in Scotland, and I got a really bad bacterial overgrowth in my stomach, and I ended up having to go wheat-free and dairy-free, and I've been wheat-free ever since. I've managed to reintroduce dairy back into my diet, but having wheat is just really, really not good for me. But I do want to work on my gut health. But currently, there's nothing I can really do about this now. So the other reason is basically I'm not absorbing like a lot of the supplements that I'm taking. So one of the tests that I had done told me that I'm like low in like magnesium and chromium and a few other things. I'm like, well, I supplement them. They should be good, but I'm just not absorbing it. So that will be the plan for October. October chat, October social media is all going to be around gut health, not just taking probiotics. There's going to be more. There's going to be sorting it out. And so one of the girls who's covering for me at AIM while I'm away for these 6 weeks is a girl called Georgie, who's actually a nutritionist. So hopefully I'll be able to get some advice and tips from her. I'll be able to work with Dr. Kathy and basically just really spend some time investing into my gut health, because I won't be going on any adventures, in October, November, December, January, February, March, April, 5. So I'll be home for like 7 months, which will be really, really good. Let's talk adventures. Now, what you may not know, this may come as a little bit of a surprise. In April, I actually walked a Camino. I walked the Camino English Camino Anglais with Gemma. So Gemma is one of my good friends. She was on 7 Women, 7 Challenges back in 2017. She now lives on the Wirral, and we get to do awesome adventures and challenges together, which is great. We have a little shared Apple Note section where we keep all our what we'd like to do, and then we slowly tick it off. So I measured the stats. I filmed it all on the GoPro. I was going to share it sort of later on, but to be honest, time and life got in the way. It was a beautiful walk. It was really good. It just rained a lot. So it was sort of like, when I say it was a bit miserable, it wasn't a miserable experience. It was just, when it's that sort of grey and everything's soggy and wet and damp and just, that type of walking. So so did that. That was good. It was nice to go out again. And then after I'd done the Camino Anglais, the next adventure was a Snowdonia Slate Trail. So you've probably watched the vlogs from that, because those vlogs are live on YouTube, and I shared the stats from that walk. It was basically like a 5-day practice hike, test out the legs, shake out the gear, just get into the mountains again. Honestly, really, really impressed with Snowdonia Slate Trail. They have done a phenomenal job with the marking. There's great resupply pub places. There's lovely pubs on the way. There's different options. So I wild camped. Did I wild camp all? Yes, I did. I wild camped all of it. But there's like campsites you can stay at, B&Bs, hotels, depending on what your budget is. Because if you're thinking like the West Highland Way, for example, it's too much, it's too long, check out the Snowdonia Slate Trail. I was also very impressed because Gemma drove us out. Gemma's dad drove us out initially to the start. And on the first day, it was me, Gemma, and her dog Tilby, which was awesome. And little Tilby did about 25 kilometers, but Gemma's back ended up going. So she did the first day, then ended up going back home again. And then at the end of the trail, I actually got back home via public transport. So bus into Bangor, train from Bangor to Chester, Chester to home. And I think it cost me like £34, but I was actually really impressed. And obviously it all worked very smoothly for me with public transport. And I know it can go in the opposite direction when nothing works and you're delayed and, it becomes horrendous. But I had a very, very good experience with it. So if you are looking for just like a little adventure, I think it's about 100k, 83 miles, well worth doing. I'd definitely add that to your list. Now, because I already knew that I was training for the GR10, I'll be talking about that in a minute. I knew that in order to get fit, and where I live is basically very, very flat, I knew I needed to get up into the mountains at some point. But again, it's that time and money. And I work now. I also, I work on like a Saturday, so that takes weekends out, and I work sort of like odd hours. And me and Alex, so Alex Mason, who's been on Tough Girl podcast before, she's like thru-hiked the PCT, Appalachian Trail. She's done PCT, north to south, south to north, Appalachian Trail, again, both directions. She's rode across the Atlantic Ocean. Awesome. She's joined me like on the Anglesey Coastal Path. She's also joined me for like the second half of the Wales Coast Path. We've been talking about doing the GR20 for, I kid you not, for about 3 years. And we've been chatting again this year. And I think at the beginning of last year, I was thinking, I'm going to do the Fisherman's Trail. I'm going to hang out in Norway with Adelaide. Those were the plans, but I just couldn't make them work. But when Alex got in contact, it was like, yeah, if we can do this end of June, beginning of July, that timing would be perfect for a training hike for me before I take on the Pyrenees challenge. Now, and to be fair, to be fully honest, like Cicerone had very kindly, they sent me a guidebook. I'd had the guidebook. I'd flicked through it and I'd watched Abby Barnes's vlogs on it and videos on it, and I'd heard stories about it. And, I knew it was going to be tough. I didn't know necessarily like how tough. And I just remember saying to Alex, I said, look, I'm super keen to do this, but because of where I am at the moment, just with work and podcast editing and vlogging and everything else I'm trying to plan and organise, and there's films coming, I'm trying to enter a film competition and working with a filmmaker and an editor. I don't have the mental capacity to take on any of the planning. I need you to tell me what flight we're getting, book the ticket, sort out the boarding pass, sort out the bags, where we need to get resupply, where we're staying. I just need you to sort it out. And Alex did. Full on spreadsheet. Amazing. So we ended up meeting up at Gatwick Airport. Oh my God, it was horrendous. Like there's only like one flight out to Corsica and it goes at like 5:20 in the morning. So you need to be there at 3:20 for your bag drop. And so I had to get like a taxi at like 1:40 or 2 o'clock. Anyway, no sleep. And we did, by the way, the vlogs are out. So you can watch these vlogs right now. And I'd highly recommend you do. The one thing that I would say is the elevation gain, the height and the exposure just does not come out on the videos and the vlogs. It's so difficult because you just think, like I thought, it's not that bad until you're actually doing it. Now, I have to say this, my question at the start was basically, is this going to be harder and tougher than Marathon des Sables? Marathon des Sables compared to the GR20, Marathon des Sables is like a 5k park run. They are, I know it's like comparing apples and oranges, but OMG, if you're interested in doing Marathon des Sables, do the GR20 in the summer. Like, wow, the elevation gain and loss, the heat, seriously tough going. And I remember, and I can't remember which guest it was with, but I've definitely had interviews with guests and they've talked about, like when I asked them, mentally, how have you felt during the challenges? Like, have you ever wanted to quit? And when guests are saying, yes, I wanted to quit every single day. And I've never been able to sort of relate to that statement because Appalachian Trail, never wanted to quit. Never even crossed my mind. Same with Marathon des Sables, never crossed my mind. As far as I know, I don't think it does. Maybe this is, rose-tinted glasses, but I honestly can't remember. Even Charo Trail, never wanted to quit it. Knew I would finish it. Wasn't stopping. It's fine. On the GR20, I was seriously starting to doubt myself. Like, I just don't know how I can do this. Like, this elevation gain and loss, doing some of these double stages. The only reason I didn't quit was honestly purely logistics, as in it was harder to quit than it was to keep on going. And also, different phrases popped up, like you never quit when you're having a bad day. Because you'll get to the shelter, you'll get your tent set up, you'll have some food, you'll get onto your air mattress, you'll lie down, you have a good sleep, you wake up in the morning, it's a stunning sunset, you get packed up, and then suddenly you're walking again, and it's all fine. But the highs and lows were pretty brutal. My first 3 days, I think, in the first 4 days, walking from north to south is the super mountainous bit. My first day I was fine. Second day, we started ridiculously early. Like alarms went off at 4:30. We're walking by 5, and my body, like my circadian rhythm, my body, I'm not awake. Like my body's like, what the hell is going on? I ended up basically getting the shits, and I was walking, 100 meters climbing, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Which was just horrendous. And like poor Alex is having to wait for me, and then we're carrying on, and then we're climbing up like massive mountains. There's nowhere to go. So I then get panicky, thinking, well, I've got to get to those bushes over there just in case something's going to happen. And my stomach couldn't stomach any food, so I wasn't eating. The only things I was having was my electrolytes, my water, and I had some Kendall mint cake, which is obviously just like pure sugar, and that contains like electrolytes. But I was feeling rough for the first couple of days. And I ended up having to have a hard, not hard conversation, but more of a difficult conversation with Alex, because Alex is just, on the flats, we are very evenly paced. In the mountains, Alex is like a mountain goat. And I can't maintain the speed that she does. I think I'm also a little bit more like risk averse, especially on the descents. I take my time. I go a little bit slower. I'm a bit more worried about like my ankles. And with Alex's plan, there were some days where I sort of was like, I can't do a double, like double, single, double. And I had to basically say to her, I can't remember, like day 5, said, look, I'm going to have to do a single tomorrow and then do a double the following day, catch you up. And then, so we were together for like the first 4 or 5 days. And then the final 3 or 4 days, I had to do a different method. But I think the really interesting learning from that was we still had the same goal. I still was going to finish on the Friday no matter what, but Alex was going to finish on the Friday at like lunchtime, and I was going to finish in the evening. And you know what? It was fine, because it wasn't changing the goal, it was just changing the method. And I needed more recovery earlier on, more rest time, more sleep, because I know later on towards the challenge, when it's the final day, you can always push it on the final day. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that's sort of what worked for me. But that was amazing. So yeah, change the plan, not the goal. Very, very tough hike, but great learning experience. I'm so also really pleased I got those vlogs edited. I think I did a really good job with them. So I'd love for you to watch them on YouTube. So that was, this was a training hike. Just have some water. So this was a training hike before the GR10, which is in the Pyrenees mountain range. And I'm taking on the GR10 for the 10th year anniversary of the Tough Girl podcast. A couple of reasons why I picked this is one, Chattaroa Trail really, really took it out of me. Like being away for I think I was away for 4.5 months, 5 months. It's a really, really long time, because it's all the before. I am fully working during those 4 months in terms of documenting everything. And it's just very, very tiring. And so I decided, I also, the flights, by the way, long flights are just killing me now. The older I get, the tougher it is on my body. And I just don't want to do those long flights anymore. I just don't. I literally get, there's no fun flying. The only way I want to do it is if I'm flying business class, and when that's hugely expensive. And so I've basically got no real interest in going like super, super far afield at the moment in time, unless there is a reason and it's linked in. So obviously when I was going to New Zealand, it was because my parents were going to Australia for Christmas. And so therefore it tied in nicely, because then I could have Christmas with my family, because all my family were going to be in Australia. So that, made sense. So I was looking for closer to home, Europe. There's so many incredible trails in Europe, and also UK and Ireland and Norway, Sweden, like just so many beautiful places to walk. And I was Googling, and one of the things so obviously didn't like the road walk in New Zealand, don't want to walk on the roads. I want trail. I want mountain. The mountains in the South Island were phenomenal. The Richmond Ranges, this 9-day stretch was, the feelings of awe you get from that. That's what I want. And I was just Googling and came across the GR10, which is a very, very, very well-marked footpath, very well maintained. There's regular resupply points. It's a stunning, stunning, stunning walk. And I think the interesting thing is I messed up when I did my first Camino. Now, you may not remember this, but when I left Saint-Jean-Pierre-de-Port, which is the starting point for the Camino Frances, instead of taking the high route through the Pyrenees, I took the low route by mistake. And so in a way, it's something, but maybe, everything happens for a reason. So this is my way of almost like going back and correcting it. But also I like the synchronicities as well. 10 years, GR10, boom. I also had a look on the FKT, which stands for Fastest Known Time website. There is a men's record, but there's no women's record. Now, I don't think I'm going to be particularly like elite level quickness, but I might be able to do, I initially thought 30 days. Then I did the GR20. I was like, maybe 35, maybe 40. We will see. But if I can record it and record it correctly, make sure I track it correctly, then I can get the FKT for women. And which is great, but it's also, I want to get it just so there's a woman's record there, which I fully expect to be broken. But I want another woman who maybe hasn't done anything. Oh, okay, well, Sarah's done it in 35, 30 days, whatever. Okay, well, I think I can do this in 25, 20, 80, want them to get after it as well. So that's another thing that I'm going to be doing. I'm also going to be filming it because I am working with Jessica from Shimnix Films. Shimnix, Shimnix, Shimnix Films, because there is a BMC, British Mountaineering Council Women's Adventure film competition happening. And I just thought, I want to pull this all together. I'm by the way, I'm investing in this as well. So I'm putting money towards this as well. So this is also where patrons' funds are going into the creation of this film. It's going to be like a 10-minute short documentary film. And the target category that we're going after is called Make a Difference Award. This is going to be showcasing the impact of the Tough Girl podcast in promoting female role models in the world of adventure physical challenges. It's going to be sharing my personal journey and also, what I do every day, encouraging everyday women to step outside their comfort zones and take on new challenges. And I'll be sharing a little bit later on about how you can get involved in that. So all of this has been going on. So it's training for the hike, it's planning for the hike, it's getting ready for this documentary, the BMC Women Adventure Film Competition, which fingers crossed, I really, really hope it gets into the Kendall Mountain Film Festival. That's the goal. That's what we're working towards. So obviously I'll keep all of you updated on that. So what I will be doing is I will be reaching out to the Tough Girl tribe and to the patrons and to you as well, because it will be great to get some video clips of you. So horizontal video clips. So basically how Tough Girl Podcast has inspired you. Has the Tough Girl Podcast inspired you to take on your own adventure? What's something that you've tried or you've achieved because of a story you heard on the show? Or maybe what does the phrase tough girl mean to you? So if you could film yourself, for a couple of minutes, that would be amazing. And we're looking to use some of these clips that add into the film, just, whether it's a word or it's a phrase. And then depending on how many women send in clips, there might be enough for me to compile them together to put a little collection of all of these thoughts and memories and inspiration together and put it out on YouTube. So I'd love for you to be involved in that. So again, it's how has the podcast inspired you to take on your own adventure? What's something you've tried or achieved because of the story you heard on the show? What does the phrase tough girl mean to you? Horizontal film clips. So just iPhone quality is absolutely fine. Android quality is absolutely fine. Just, filming that, and you can send it to me, email it to me, sarah@toughgirlchallenges.com. But I will be putting posts out on Patreon and Tough Girl Tribe, so just look out for that. Little YouTube updates. The growth has been steady and slow, because I haven't been managing to put out much video content because I have not managed to edit the Southwest Coast Path vlogs. Bearing in mind, I walked this in the summer of 2024. I was hoping to get it out this year, to be honest. but I just, there's 40 days of footage. Each day there's about 40 minutes, and I cut them down to roughly 6 minutes to try and tell a story. And then I do 2 or 3 per day to make a 12-minute vlog. It's not easy. And you also, what I find as well, you can't sort of start and stop with this when I'm editing. I need a full day. So it means I need to wake up and just get into it and start editing so I can remember like the storyline and everything. But it's a big commitment, because I mean, even with the Terra Road Trail vlogs, it took me like 3 or 4 months of them, of editing to get them out. And I think I was probably pretty burned out from finishing those vlogs. That's why I didn't have a chance to edit the Southwest Coast Path vlogs. I will still edit them. By the way, if there's any editors out there, he's like, Sarah, editing is my jam. I love editing. Please email me, sarah@toughgirlchallenges.com. I can't pay you in money form, but I can maybe pay you in alternative ways. Maybe you can come on a hike with me, or I can give you some coaching or give you some advice. I'm sure we could figure it out. But the podcast, look, the podcast is still going strong, not as strong as it was during the COVID years when we were getting up to like 100,000 listens a month. I'd say overall podcast listenership has sort of declined a little bit, but I think that's fine. I think it's just one of these things. It's been going for a long time now, and maybe people just get bored of the format, or maybe the stories aren't resonating with them, because I do try and be as variable as possible. So it's not always like women running, or it's not always women just climbing Mount Everest or climbing the 7 summits. There is, I am trying to get that variety in there, whether it's like dragon boat racing, etc. But I'm going to be recording the next batch of interviews probably the beginning of October, which will take me through to the end of the year. So if you've got any guests you'd like to recommend, please do reach out. It's been amazing reaching back out to some of our previous guests, especially for Tough Girl Podcast Extra, and catching up with them. Women like Vidangi, who cycle around the world like a second time. Just amazing to hear a story. And Jen and Ben Sims, amazing to catch up with Jen and just hear their stories. But I love the podcast. I love what I'm doing. Coming up to like 800 episodes is amazing. But honestly, I still feel as though I'm just starting. I feel as though I haven't moved the needle enough. I want to keep moving this needle. So I'll keep putting in the work. I'll keep interviewing these incredible women. I'll keep sharing these stories. I'll keep putting them out for you to listen to. And I hope it continues to inspire you. So community-wise, Tough Girl Tribe, 1,600 members strong, incredible patrons, past and present. Just honestly, massive gratitude, because I'm also going to take a time now just to mention some names as well, because Ellen Piercy, Zoe Langley-Watham, Catherine de Ferrer, Tara Geiger, Damiana Day, Katja Lunaire, Dave Davis, Gemma Smith, Lisa McCoy, Catherine Harrison, Charlene Gibson, Anne Galbraith, Vicky Royal, Serena Broadway, Josh Berman, Linda Blakely, Map, Nikki Chisholm, Rachel White, Keris, Joanna Emery, Stephanie Langridge, Rebecca Defargus, Defargues, Claire Davis, Deborah Holt, Sarah Tudhope, Lou Blue D, Rochelle Olson, Leah Atherton, Kat Benger, Carrie Flockhart, Ali Mahoney Johnson, Stacey Copeland, Donna Shakala, Ari Kane, Chelsea Simmons, Chloe Phillips Harris, Lauren Beth Morton, Claire, Catherine Knight, Mike Gray, Amy Burton, Alison MacArthur. Thank you so much for your incredible support. I went back to Patreon and I scrolled through the lifetime women and men who have supported me and Tough Girl Challenges and the podcast to get these stories out there, because the 800 stories, this is a testament to all of you literally supporting, putting your money, investing your money, being able to pay it forward. So every time an episode comes out, that is 100% because of you. And I don't take it for granted. And I also just want to say as well, for the women who are listening, I completely understand it's really, really tough times at the moment. And I'm so privileged that I do live at home. My parents are really, really supportive. I'm a grown-ass woman, 43, not paying for groceries, not paying for rent, not paying any bills. I do pay my mobile phone and my phone bill, but I have a car to drive. I don't need to pay for petrol. I am so, so privileged. And because of that support as well, it allows me to do the podcast, because to be honest, otherwise this wouldn't be happening. It's not financially viable to do this type of work and to be able to earn enough of a living from it to actually, especially with the hours it takes, it's just, honestly, it's not feasible. So, and also, a big shout out to the women who are starting their own podcasts. I absolutely love it, and I'm so impressed by you all. It's such an undertaking, and we do need more women's voices in this space. So if you are a woman and you're thinking, oh, Sarah, I wish I could support, but you're saving money for a challenge or an adventure, you're just going through hard times. I get it. And what I like to think as well is, in a couple of years' time, who knows where you'll be? You will have got that job, you will have got that promotion, your circumstances may have changed. And then all I hope is you'll think back and think, do you know what? Sarah really helped me through those tough times. I'm actually now in a financial situation where actually I can be a patron for $5, $10, $20, $25 a month. I'm going to be able to pay it forward. And hopefully that will be the case. Otherwise, I bet you're sharing on social media. I bet you're telling your friends about it, because that's also how the podcast grows. So thank you so much. And if you'd like to support, please visit Patreon, patreon.com/Tough Girl Podcast. So where are we up to? 10-year milestone reflections. So I'm just going to have another sip of water. I threw in like a few of my own questions here. Like, what have you learned in 10 years of podcasting? I think, honestly, the one key lesson is the fact you do just need to start. So if you want to get fit, you have to start. You want to read more books? You need to read more books. Like, you want to spend more time outside? You've got to go outside. And it's showing up, it's being consistent, it's going from knowing that you are not the best, that you are a learner, to actually, I'm going to continue investing my time and energy. I'm going to grow, I'm going to develop, I'm going to get better, I'm going to improve. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning all the time. I'm still getting feedback, which I really appreciate, because I do want to get better. I want to make sure that I am adding value to you, the listener. What surprised you the most? Do you know what surprised me the most? It's how quickly the time has gone. Like, honestly, where has the past 10 years gone? It felt like only the other day that I was lying in this bed, launching Tough Girl Podcast and trying to figure it out, and then planning for my big cycle down from Canada to Mexico, and then getting my first, when Cicerone came on as one of my first sponsors. That was in 2019. That was 4 years after the podcast. And then, becoming an ambassador for Zolio and working with Innovate, and, getting gifted backpacks by Osprey. It's like time has just gone so quickly. That's what surprised me. Like, just how, and honestly, I still feel as though I'm just starting. How have your mission and motivations evolved? Mission is the same. And honestly, once I dialed in this mission, once I got that clarity, my mission is to increase the amount of female role models in the media in relation to adventure and physical challenges. Everything in my life revolves around that, and it makes my life so much easier. How have my motivations evolved? I am honestly more motivated than ever before. And actually, I'm starting to feel, I think, more pressure because of ticking clock in terms of getting older. Not in a bad way, because it is a privilege to get older. It's still a privilege to be doing this. But I'm just very, very aware that I want to get thousands of episodes out. I want to speak to that. There's so many women I haven't spoken to yet. The other day, I'd realised that I haven't spoken to Rebecca Stevens, who was the first British woman to climb Mount Everest. Tori has interviewed her on her podcast, First Ascents. And I was thinking, oh, I haven't spoken to her. And I was like, wow. So there are still so many women I want to interview. So the mission is the same. I'm dialed into that mission. I am locked into that mission. Motivation, I'm still so motivated. I'm still so driven with what I'm doing. What are you most proud of? I am most proud of the women who listen to the podcast. I'm so proud of the guests who share their stories, the women who say yes, the women who are showing up daily, the women who are going through tough times, whether that's personally or professionally, and they show up and they get on with it. and they continue to follow their passions and their interests. That's who I'm most proud of. Women who are just like, they want to embrace adventure and challenge. They want to make it a part of their life. And they do. Like, absolutely, they do. So I'm honestly, the women and the men who listen to the podcast, like, just so proud of, so proud of you. Like, because it makes me so happy when I get messages from women telling me, oh, Sarah, I'm doing my first Camino. I've done my first wild camp. Sarah, I went and got my first pair of trainers. I figured out my sleep system. I know where I'm going. I'm going to do, the Anglesey Coastal Path, or I'm heading up to Scotland. I'm going to do this. I'm taking on this cycle challenge. I've joined this community. I'm going to be doing this. It's like, yes. This is what it's about. This is 100% what it's about. With regards to the website, you may be noticing a few changes. So part of my plan over the next couple of days is to update the website. It's still going to be the same because, I'm not superhuman. A website is the website and I can only do so much. Could my website be a lot better? Yes. Will I try and improve it? Always. Do I always get around to it? No. Sometimes it's years out of date, but I just, I do my best. But I do want to say a massive thank you to Rebecca McPherson. She reached out and she's done an amazing job. She's helped create a new logo design for me. I'm still keeping the Tough Girl Challenges logo, but we've also changed the color to purple. There's going to be sort of like the pink decade, which is what we've done, what we've achieved. And then the purple decade. This is going to be the next 10 years. What are the next goals? What are the next challenges? Because in this decade, I did some adding up with the help of ChatGPT. I have done over 7,400 miles of like hiking and cycling. I have visited 13 countries and I've done 31 challenges. So that's like in the pink decade. And then what's going to happen in the purple decade is I'm putting it all out there. Every goal that I want to achieve, every hike I want to go on, every adventure I want to do, I'm going to put it down on the list in the purple decade because I want to see what comes of it. Because people might reach out to me and be like, hey, Sarah, you mentioned about, visiting like the Lost City in Colombia. I'm going on a trip. Why don't you come with me? Hey, Sarah, I'm thinking of doing XYZ. Why don't you come with me? And then I'm going to put a few random ones on there. So things I've been thinking of. I would love to cycle from Alaska to Ushuaia. I would love to go on visit Antarctica, but I'd have to do that as a cruise. I would love to experience van life one summer. Maybe like 3 months traveling around Europe, climbing mountains. Like, how epic. I've recently gone down the rabbit hole of people who buy abandoned properties and do them up. Like, why not do that? How awesome would that be? So there's also going to be a random section with other things. And look, I'd love for it to happen. And do you know what? Why not? Put it out there. So that's all going to be included on the website. So go and check it out. There's another question that got asked me is like, I was having a chat with somebody and it was along the lines of, would you ever want to go mega viral? Would I ever want to get huge levels of fame? And it's quite interesting because I don't think so. Like, it's weird in a way because like founder marketing is very good for your business. Like, people are generally interested in the personal story. So people get interested in following along with like my GR20 and hopefully like the GR10 or the Tiara Road Trail, Appalachian Trail, and, coming along on that journey with me, which is amazing. But then through that, I can get them interested in the Tough Girl podcast. I can get them interested in listening to these stories. That's what I want, is for other women's stories. So I want more women listening to the podcast. Absolutely. Let's go for 10 million downloads. Why not? I'd love to get 100,000 followers on YouTube. Probably not going to happen. I've had YouTube for 10 years and just passed 5,800 followers because it's a slow grind, but you never know. The film that I'm working on with Jessica, it could change everything. It might win an award at the BMC or Kendall Mountain Film Festival. It might get picked up and go to other film festivals. We might extend it to a 20-minute film. There are options. You just don't know what's going to happen or who's going to see the stories and how it impacts on the women sharing their stories on the Tough Girl podcast. Because I do want these women's stories shared. I want women to hear them, because it's not only about the visibility of female role models, it's understanding, well, how did they do it? How did they pay for it? How did they manage with childcare? So generally, 90%, actually maybe more, I love my life. I'm very, very happy with my life. I'd love a little bit more financial security. I'd love to fly business class. Would I love to have more personal training sessions? Yes. Would I like to have more massages? Yes. Would I like to pay for a nutritionist? Yes, yes, yes. Can I do that? No, no, no. It's all a balance. I want to keep traveling and adventuring and sharing these stories for as long as I possibly can, because what a privilege the last 10 years has been. Traveling to all the countries I've been to, going on all these amazing hikes from the Outer Hebrides to New Zealand, to Tasmania, to the Lycian Way, to walking Caminos in Spain. Like, an utter privilege to have done these adventures and challenges. I just want to keep doing more of them. So we've got a few questions now from the tribe and from listeners. Steph Cook. Hi, Sarah. I was wondering how easy it was to wild camp along the Southwest Coast Path. And congratulations on 10 years. Thank you, Steph. I appreciate you and appreciate all your support. How easy was it? It depends probably on your experience and background with wild camping and how comfortable and confident you feel. There are definitely a lot of places to wild camp. I think you do have to be a little bit selective. Sometimes it was just easier to pay to stay in a campsite. It sort of took the stress away for a little bit, but there is definitely options. I think I only had one nightmare where I couldn't find anywhere. I actually did go onto like a campsite, but no one was there. So I camped there, but I'd left by 6 a.m. So I felt a bit bad about that. And obviously, do you know what would be helpful? Is if I had actually edited the Southwest Coast Path vlogs, and then you could watch it and then you could see it. Definitely possible. Definitely possible. Just obviously follow the wild camping principles, which I know that you would do anyway, which all of the listeners would do anyway. Pack up, set up late, pack up early, take your rubbish with you, leave it better than you left it, and you're good to go. Blur 1988 on Instagram asked, what's your bucket list goal or challenge? So I think for many years, and it still is on there, it is the PCT. It is the Pacific Crest Trail. I would love to walk it. I'd love to hike it. I was planning to do it in 24. Yeah, I was planning to do it in 24, but I was just too burnt out and I couldn't face another long 4 month sort of type of adventure. I'm not feeling it at the moment, though. I'm not really feeling America. I don't like Trump. I don't like his presidency. I don't like what's going on over in the States, and so I just really don't want to visit at this moment in time. But the PCT would be amazing, because I know that there are so many lovely people out there. One of the patrons, Mike, he's already offered to be to come and provide me with some Snickers and to come and meet me and stuff like that, which would be amazing. But I would love to do that. That would be a real highlight. You also asked, Blur 1988, would you do a group/team challenge for the community? This would be a no. And this is for a number of reasons. It's not because I don't love the community and love the team. It's because I am not qualified to take groups of people out. It is a hell of a lot of responsibility when you are having to manage other people, not just yourself, in terms of their health needs, their emotional needs, their mental needs. There are so many variables on challenges, and something could go wrong. And you need to be with somebody who is experienced and who can deal with that. Group dynamics, I also think, can be a real challenge. And it's probably, never say never. But I suppose I quite like hiking solo. I like just having to focus on me, just getting myself from A to B. Like, if I'm like, want to stop now? Great. Want to carry on walking? Great. Not showering? Great. Showering? Great. But I wouldn't sort of arrange anything like initially, by the way, I did think many years ago, I did think about this. I got offered with a tour company. They were like, hey, Sarah, why didn't you get like 12 people together and we'll go hike Mount Elbrus or something. If you get 10 people together, then you get your place free. And I was looking at that because that was like financially the only way that I'd be able to do some of these challenges. But I think I'm still probably a little bit scarred from responsibility, from having such huge levels of responsibility in my early 20s, from managing people and managing like big numbers, numbers. I'm talking like money, assets under management. I just don't think I want that level of responsibility anymore. And I think with that level of responsibility comes stress. And I've honestly spent 10 years reducing stress from my life. I just don't want it. So that will be a no. Emily Red Adventures asks, if you had to repeat any of the hikes you've done, which one would you choose? Not the GR20. Which one would I choose? That is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful question. Which one would I choose? Do you feel like I've never wanted to repeat any of the hikes or that I've done? I mean, the only one that I maybe considered, and I don't think I'd do it, but I almost got so much stick from New Zealand because I hitched, because the roads were so horrendous on the North Island, just like ridiculous. But then it really annoyed me, like, you know, some of the comments that, well, you didn't walk it and meh, meh, meh. I mean, honestly, I initially at one point I was thinking I'll go back in January and I'll start at Bluff in the Cargill and I'll prove a point. Yeah, I'll walk all the way back and we'll do all the roads. Like, yeah, why not? And then I was just like, Sarah, who are you really doing that for? And then I was like, forget about it. But if I had to, do you know what does interest me? And I sometimes think about this. Because I did the Appalachian Trail when I was 32, 33. I'm very naive, not an experienced hiker at all. But I did it in 100 days. And I sometimes think, if I could do that now, could I go back and walk the Appalachian Trail in 100 days? Knowing what I know now, would it be easier or harder? Harder because I know what I'm facing. Easier because I'm a more experienced hiker. I've got better gear. Everything's lighter. I'm much more efficient. I've just got, like, I'm dialed in. I know what I would need to do to get the miles in. That's an interesting one. So probably, do you know what, Emily? It would be the Appalachian Trail. Could I do it in 100 days again? I don't know. What do you think? Comment down below. Do you think I could do it again? Linda Niss says, your favourite country in the world for hiking, free camping? To be honest, it will probably be America, because America is just so vast and spacious, and there's not really the same rules. Like, you know, in places, in places like Tasmania on the overland track, like, there's like rangers out there, you know, like doing an amazing job. I totally get it, totally respect it. But you're so restricted. And so even like, and also GR20, like, again, totally understand it. You're in a national park. There's only certain areas that you can camp. So again, you're very restricted about where you can camp. But when you've had that freedom of just like, especially like on the Appalachian Trail, you can just hike along, hike all day. And they're like, yeah, I'll camp here. This is flat. This will do. That's very amazing. So yeah, hiking and camping in America is, especially like on the big trails, is very, very, very easy. Now, Lindy also goes on to say, a major barrier for me is safety and how best to manage the fear of the unknown for female solo hiking. Your thoughts and tips on this would be welcome. So I'm gonna do a couple of things. So for basics, and these basics. These are things that you can control in advance, okay? So telling someone where you are, having a tracker, doing your planning and preparation, doing your research, making sure that you are carrying a battery pack, making sure you have your maps, your GPS, having a first aid kit, make sure you've got extra snacks, an emergency blanket, making sure that you're not wearing obvious valuables, keeping your essentials in a go bag. So for me, I have like my passport, my money, my electronics in a bag. So if I have to leave my backpack somewhere, my essentials come with me. You can take self-defense classes in advance. If you know you are not good at certain skills, you can take classes on them. For example, in New Zealand, they had river crossing classes that you could go and attend so that you can upskill. Map reading, navigation, you can control this. Making sure that you are fit and strong before you go out. All of these things are in your control. So there's the basics. Bam. The second thing I would talk about is while you are out on the trail. And to be honest, I hate the fact that I have to talk about this, because it's putting the onus on women's safety on women. And to be honest, let's call a spade a spade. The reason is because of men. And the thing that we also need to remember is, unfortunately, the most dangerous place for a woman is in the home. It's somebody you know. It's somebody you trust. It is very, very, very rarely strangers in the night, although obviously this can happen. It's something that you have to be aware about while you're on the trail. And it's something I am very conscious of because I knew, for example, when I was hitching in New Zealand, if something happened to me, I would be blamed. 100%. It would fall on me. But while you're out on the trail, there are various things that you can do. So things like women, you do have a gut instinct. You know, when you meet someone, something doesn't feel right, listen to that instinct. Doesn't matter what, if you're just like, no, I don't feel, if you don't feel comfortable, remove yourself from that situation. Men generally respect other men, wear a wedding ring. So, look, if that's a way to keep men away, where I did it in Turkey, yeah. Don't be nice. Women are trained to be nice. You don't need to be too chatty. You don't need to be too friendly. You do not owe anybody personal information about yourself. I am giving you permission to lie. You don't need to tell people where you're going, where you're camping, where you're staying. I remember actually, Great Glen Way, there was this guy, where are you camping tonight? And I was like, oh no, I'm finishing the trail. I'm not telling him where I'm camping. And then he saw me the following day and he was like, oh, you told me that you were finishing. And I looked at him like, yeah, I'm not going to tell you where I'm camping. And men, if you're listening, don't ask women where they're going, where they're camping, etc. But I know the men listening will already know that. If you need to be rude. Let people walk ahead of you, walk behind. If you find someone feel uncomfortable, start walking in a group. Always be aware of your surroundings. Like, for example, when I was cycling on the Pacific Coast Highway, I once pulled into going to the bushes to pee. A car pulled in behind me and I was like, great, I can't pee now. So I got back on my bike and carried on cycling. In those, you don't be aware of your surroundings. When you're picking camp spots, go for hidden. Somewhere which is comfortable for you, go off the trail. The other thing is and by the way, every woman is different. So I've done boxing before. I'm 5'9". I'm 70 odd kilos. I had an older brother. I would pretty much act crazy. Do what you have to do to get away. If you need to be really aggressive, you be aggressive. Go for the eyes, the throat, the privates. You have hiking poles, you turn them into weapons. You do what you have to do to get away. As I am sharing this, I'm also very aware you can have a flight response and you can also have a freeze response. So you may freeze in these situations. And if that happens, it's no one's blaming you. But hopefully it won't even get to that stage. Another thing that you can do, which I've done before as well, is it's literally writing down your fears. What are your fears? And to be the top one is generally men. It's being safe. What I would say is you don't want to let fear stop you from living because then they win. So if you don't feel comfortable solo hiking, find a friend. And I know that that's difficult when you want to spend time with yourself, but maybe you can balance it. It's when, for example, when me and Alex hike, we don't always hike together, but we'll always meet up along the way. The other thing that I would say as well is the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll start to feel, the more confident you'll start to feel, the more you will tune in your gut instincts around it. I hope that helps, but please don't let... Fear can also be a good thing because it can raise your adrenaline. It can just make you very aware of your surroundings, but don't let it stop you from living a life. You do have to get out there and live. I mean, whether that's choosing busier trails, less remote trails. I feel safer in the wilderness than I do in, say, Liverpool, our closer city. It's so disappointing that women still have to talk about this, and we do have to talk about this. But you just have to do the best you can do to protect yourself while also to keep living your life as best as you can. So patrons, thank you so much. I'll be doing a reminder to submit video clips for the film, sarah@toughchallenges.com, film horizontally. Check out YouTube, Facebook, all those. YouTube? Yeah. No, probably more Facebook, Instagram. GR10, I will be sharing as best as I can daily updates, doing all my stats and all those things. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being a part of the Tough Girl podcast. Thank you so much for being a part of the community. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing with your friends. Thank you for leaving reviews. Thank you for being a patron. It really does make the world of difference knowing that you're out there. Like the other day, like sometimes I just scroll through like reviews if I'm having like a low day, or I like scroll through the names of patrons and I'm like, oh, it's so awesome. That's so awesome. 10 years. Gosh, I honestly don't even know where the time has gone. Like, yeah, 10 years. What's the next 10 years going to hold? But also, do you know what? This could also be a time for you to think about what you want to achieve in the next 2 years, next 10 years. Like, what are your goals? What are your ambitions? What are your dreams? You know, have you sat down and created your vision board? Have you created your list of goals for you? If you haven't done it, you know, whether it's like, it's very powerful, blank piece of paper, pen, write it down. If you've got a phone, you've got a notes app. I have one in my notes app, like literally called Future Adventure Goals. And in it, I have a list of what I want to achieve and what we're going after. And obviously that list will soon be going quite public on the website as well. But I do think it's important that you do have things that you're aiming towards, that you want to achieve, even if they're out of reach at the moment. So whether it's wanting to walk, I don't know, like every UK national trail, whether it's wanting to walk around the coast of Great Britain like Zoe Langley-Watham and her husband Mike are going to be doing starting in October. You know, what are your goals? Is it to walk a Camino? Is it to go and climb Mount Kilimanjaro? Is it to head to Iceland, to Greenland? Is it to have a cold challenge? Like, is it to visit the Great Wall of China, to hike in Vietnam, to do the 88 Pilgrims Trail in Japan? You know, what really excites you? You know, is it doing an Ironman, running your first 5K, 3K, first 1 kilometer, first mile without stopping? These are all really, really important goals. Is it taking up adult ballet? And just as a reminder, there's no right or wrong about your goals. As long as they are personal to you, as long as they excite you, that is what it's about. It's about getting you out of bed in the morning really excited, because it's not about the actual goal. It's about what you have to do to achieve that goal. So the growth and development, the training and preparation you have to put into that, so that you grow and develop as a person, so you get better. That is what it's all about. So honestly, all that's left for me to say is, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, give it your all, give it 110%, get after it, go for it, believe in yourself, because I believe in you. Take care, lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.